Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and guys, again, thank you so much for just the amount of support that I've gotten to building this channel, and I really hope to see it improve and get better, and of course, love to hear from you guys to keep improving this and, make content that you guys want to see. So please let me know, and always, I welcome any content ideas or any even criticism. Now, today I want to thank MCHOSE. I have one of my favorite keywords actually that I have is the MCHOSE GX87 Ultra, as you can see right here. MCHOSE has sent me out their Ace 60. I know it's a little bit late, but it's really cool to check out more holographic boards and be able to compare them with other things. So we're gonna have to check this out because this is supposed to be a really nice budget holographic board. So let's go straight into the unboxing, and please make sure to like and subscribe.
So now starting off with the unboxing of the MCHOSE Ace 60 Pro. Now thank you again MCHOSE for sending me this out because I did want to try out this budget holographic board because it seemed like this was going to be one of the best ones that you could actually get on the market at the moment. Now, as you can see, the box itself is quite simple. It's not a special box. It's not something that's going to be like a high quality packaging, but it is simple. And as you can see that they even provide extra like manuals with function keys shortcuts, which is great because, sometimes you're going to need those function key shortcuts just to know what you're going to do or what can be done with this board. Now it's already preset. Now you do get a switchable keycap player, 2 extra switches, and surprisingly enough, for a budget board, you're actually getting a braided cable that is actually quite nice. So most of the times when you get these budget boards, the cables are going to be just very simple, like silicone rubber cables that aren't really great, quite cheap. MCHOSE went a different route and actually provided a nice braided cable. Now this is a plastic board, so you're not getting something that is in an aluminum case or anything. I do appreciate the fact that the FN is actually in the right corner. That is something that's really important for me because I feel like for 60%, you're going to need that in that corner. Now this is super light, it is plastic, so we're going to quickly weigh it and then go into a sound test. So this thing weighs about 670 grams. So now we're done with the sound test. We're going to, of course, do a teardown and see where all the screws are. One thing I did notice from the sound test that we just did was the stock sounds really horrible. I'm going to be honest here. It just really sounded bad. So we have to take out total 6 screws for this board. And it's going to be under the tab, under the control, under the G, and then the number 7, as well as the right control and the tilde. Now as you can see there, this thing does have silicone in between the PCB and the plate, and it is an aluminum plate. Now this thing is quite simply made. As you can see, you have the silicone on the bottom, so there's no like extra foams in this thing. It's just a nice silicone on the bottom here, which is actually fully thick. So it's not a silicone that has like empty space, but it actually is filled, which is great. Now, in terms of the whole modifications of this board, we're just going to do something simple. We're going to do 2-layer tape mod, and I think that's going to be the easiest thing to make the sound a little bit better because we don't have a ton of space here, right? The silicone is taking up quite a bit of space on the bottom, so we're just going to do a quick tape mod. Also, make sure to punch holes where the screws would go through because, as you can see there, that's where all the pins like, are coming up from the board itself, from the case. So we're going to push holes through it, and then we're going to put it inside and then put all the screws back in. So as you can see right here, you can pause here when you need to see where the screws are if you do plan to open this up to modify it yourself to make it sound better. Now, I do apologize that I wasn't fully focusing, but as you can see, those are the keys that I'm putting back to really put this back together and where the screws were located for me to take it out. Now, one thing I also noticed was that the spacebar was having quite a bit of a loud noise. So it's like a bit of a hollow and loud ting. It's not just from the stabilizers, it's just that there is a lot of empty space in the spacebar. So we're going to grab our sound dampening foam and we're just going to add it into the spacebar. Not a ton, right? We don't want to fill it up too much where it's muted and it affects the spacebar completely, but we're just going to put a little bit to fill up the space just to have enough to make it sound a little bit better. And then I'm going to give you a full sound test of the modded board. So in total, I think after modding it, it sounds much better, right? I think it sounds a lot more creamier too, actually, and it sounds quite a bit deeper. Now this board is a 60%, and as I said before, the FN in the bottom right corner is a huge plus, right? We want to do the arrow keys. You really do want to have it simple and easy to use. And honestly, this thing kind of reminds you a crazy amount of a Wooting 60 HE, right? It is a plastic board, so you're not getting a aluminum board. The plastic itself does feel decent. It's not a high quality plastic from my feel personally, but it's not a cheap plastic either. Now, this board is quite interesting to use as a gaming board, right? It is supposed to be incredibly budget. So it is nice the fact that you do get a nice budget Hall Effect gaming board, especially if you're someone that, wants to have a mechanical board for that, satisfaction of having like a THOC or whichever sound profile you like. But one thing, as I said here, for this plastic board, though, is that you don't get angles. So a lot of plastic boards usually provide those angles that you can put on the back. These don't have it. Now, this thing is with a plate-mounted stabilizer. It does come pre-lubed. Now, it's hard for me to show you, see it in the camera exactly, but I think you can kind of see it there. It's not Krytox, so it doesn't look like it's Krytox 205G0. It looks like it's something completely different that they used. It works kind of, but I still had to use a syringe to fill it in for lube just because I felt like there was tinging. It was less in the smaller ones like the shift, backspace, enter, but the spacebar itself did have quite a bit of tinging, and I did have to use a syringe to fix it. A lot of times, most times lately, I do feel like just having a syringe on hand for those is very useful. Now, this is the ICE magnetic switch that is available with the MCHOSE Ace and Ace Pro, the 60 and 60 Pro. This is a box stem, which is great because you're going to get very little stem wobble from it, which is something that a lot of people do not want on their gaming boards. Now, in terms of the sound profile, it does come not lubed pretty much when you get it. It does sound really, really bad. It sounds scratchy, it sounds like high-pitched, tinging. You will not like it stock, and that's just an unfortunate thing. If you do lube it though, and I highly recommend you do lube this, it will sound much better. Lubing it makes a huge difference in terms of this board, and it will really feel and sound so much better. And honestly, once you do hand loop all the switches, this board doesn't feel like a super cheap board anymore. It actually feels much better and a much more premium build quality from the switches. Now, I do want to go into the backlighting test to give you guys what the backlighting is like on this gaming board, because let's face it, most people that do have a gaming board would like to have some kind of lighting on their board, and that has been a lot of the trends for most gaming boards out there. So let me get this connected for you guys and start dimming the lights to show you guys what this backlight looks like. Now I'm going to keep that keycap off so you guys can get a little bit better view of just the switch itself and then the rest of the keyboard. So let's get straight into turning off all the lights. Now we're going to do like different lightings. Of course, I have plugged into a laptop, right? Because it doesn't have a battery, so I can't just do it like that. Now the keycaps are shine through, so you do get lighting and the letters shine through the back of the like lighting. Now the color accuracy with the ice magnetic is going to be better because it is a pure transparent switch, which is great. The lighting itself on this board is not super bright, so keep that in mind. It's not an incredibly bright backlighting, but it is visible and you will see it in the dark. Now going into the website, and of course I want to show you guys the actual software, which is a web software, but also give you guys a look at the A60 and comparing it to the A60 Pro, because they're both a bit different. So let me just put that in a separate tab, and then we're going to be looking at this board. So it does come with its own custom high frequency gaming gaming chip, and it is supposed to be 8K polling rate. Now keep in mind this board, and MCHOSE in general, I find, is a company that has been really putting a lot of work into their boards and making really great boards at a much more affordable price range, right? My favorite keyboard for TKL is a MCHOSE GX87 Ultra. As you can see here, MCHOSE is providing many different Hall effect switches available with the board. Now, it is really interesting to see that they are going into the gaming keyboard route. And again, most companies are, to be fair. I was wondering if this was a double shot or not. It doesn't really give you that information. But as you can see here, we have the MCHOSE A60 Pro, which is the one I'm using, and then there's an A60. So what's the biggest difference? So that's going to be having 8K polling rate or a 1K polling rate, right? And the different switches that are available, some aren't going to be available for the A60, but all of them are going to be available for the A60 Pro. So these are things to keep in mind. And the scan rate is quite different too, right? The A60 Pro is supposed to have a much higher scan rate than the A60. And the A60 is a much cheaper board, right? You're looking at the A60 at $39, right, USD, and $44 for the A60 Pro. So for $5 more, you're getting the 8K and bigger benefits. So let's go into the software and the web app to see what it looks like and how it is. Now, because this is a budget board, right? Like this is a price range where like the Battle 68 from Ueden, and then there's also the Mad Lion. They're all around this same price range. This thing has a software that looks similar to theirs, right? It's very similar. And to be fair, a lot of companies actually have a very similar web app, which does look like this. Gotta be honest, it does look quite similar, right? I've seen it with like a long time ago when I did the ACO, and looking at, say, other companies out there like the Ueden that I tried, the web apps are kind of similar, right? It is a budget web app, which I believe is mostly skinned, right? Most companies will just get there's one set web app and then everyone skins it. But the thing is, I do appreciate that MCHOSE is looking into more of the app itself, and of course that you can see like the demonstration of this switch. Now, I don't feel that it is fully accurate though, because it is a bit slow, right? So when you're going to press it and you're trying to take a look at how your actuation is, the reaction time in the demonstration is a bit slow. You do have like Windows mode, Mac mode, you have Mac layer, as you can see, you have FN layer. One thing I do feel like that it was missing and I was trying to locate in here was the profile changes, right? Just an easy way to change profiles to be able to see it and add it in to whatever key you'd like would have been a bit nicer to have. That's just my personal thoughts. is that something like that would be easier because, you know, sometimes you want to use it in gaming mode and sometimes you want to have it in just regular typing on your computer. You might not want to just keep moving keyboards around to, you know, use one for gaming and then one for just regular use. So that is a kind of a downside of this, honestly. And I think they could go in the future, actually add that in or make it easier to access just because I couldn't locate it myself. You know, it just might be in there and I can't locate it. But of course, it depends. It just makes it easier, right? Like they should have really looked into that a lot more to make this a much easier web app to use. Now, I do find that the fact that there's key remapping is really important and it's really useful to have. Now, you do get all of these extra features, right? SOCD, dynamic keystroke, hold tap, snap tap. This is great to have, right? This fact is for 44 USD, you're getting all these features and you get a K polling rate, which is, I'm gonna be honest, it's not like you're gonna tell a huge difference. You feel it very slightly. If you're very sensitive to it, you will feel it very, very slightly, but it's not gonna be a huge difference. Now, they do provide like Berserk mode, which is really awesome. Like it says that, you know, goes into complete accuracy. Now, of course, does it really make a huge difference? It's going to be just a very marginal difference. I think at this point, in terms of gaming keyboards and Hall effect boards, you're looking at very marginal increases, right? It's not going to be a huge difference anymore. Like the biggest game changer, right, was SnapTap. So it's a very marginal difference. Now, as you can see with Keyboard Inspector, we are getting the 8K polling rate, which is great. And it's appreciated that a lot of companies are going the 8K route, but it's still not like important. You don't need 8K to do gaming. Now, giving you guys a little bit more in terms of like actually how I use it, right? And I do this in every Hall effect board video because I want to test and show you guys like how is it in terms of getting used to it. So the reason why I do Apex Legends is because of specifically this specific trick. It's a movement trick called super gliding, and Hall effect boards make super gliding much easier. So you can set it to, because you have to make it a frame perfect thing where it's pressing crouch space at the exact moment when you get up on a ledge. And by doing that, it throws you forward. Now, it's supposed to be frame perfect. Why is it good to use a Hall effect board? It's because you can set your actuation points so that you are getting that frame perfect press, because everybody's press is a little bit different, right? Everyone has different fingers. Everyone has different press styles. It's just helpful to have that set so that you can do it very accurately almost every time. Now, is this a trick that you need in game? No, but some people like to have it available. It helps a lot, right? It just makes the game more fun. Like one of the reasons why I love Apex Legends is the fact that they have this kind of movement that's available in game and the game is fast paced. The same thing goes for like CSGO and Valorant when you are using SnapTap. Right? Do you need it? No. Does it help a lot? Yes. And at the end of the day, you also can come with practice, right? People had to practice it back in the day. Now there's just a software that allows you to do it much easier. One of the reasons I use a shotgun and do the super gliding is because when you use the shotgun here and you have like that gold bolt, if you pull off a super glide, it actually will auto reload. And that's how I know I actually pulled off a super glide, like right there. It looked like I moved forward quickly, but I didn't. You have to do tests and practices. Even with an Hall effect board, you're still going to have to practice it. Everything comes with practice. Now, another benefit of Hall effect boards is the fact is you can pick up items much quicker. And this is another one as well. And where SnapTap, it's not like SnapTap here, but Apex Legends has this thing where you can actually kind of counter your recoil. This gun itself has crazy recoil, but if you're moving in Apex Legends, it actually completely dissipates the vertical recoil. Now, what I noticed was, as you can see here, right, the recoil when I don't control it just goes straight up. But if you're moving, now you can see the recoil is staying. Right, I'm not actually using my mouse a lot to control the recoil. I'm actually just using movement. Now, with a Hall effect board, I'm actually pressing A and D super quickly because I have my A and D set at 0.4 millimeters. That it allows me now to be able to counter that recoil through moving. So that's something I use a lot, specifically because sometimes recoil control is difficult, and it really does help a lot where you can actually do some crazy things with a Hall effect board, and it just makes it a bit better and it makes it easier. And of course, the MCHOSE itself, the A60 Pro, I felt was quite useful in terms of in-game as well. So this is me in-game. I landed, quickly picked up the gun I wanted to pick up, right? This is another benefit, as I said, where you're going to be able to pick up items faster than other people because you can set it at a lower actuation. So like, I mean, higher actuation, I guess, or pretty much I have it set at 0.1 millimeters, right? So I'm setting mine at 0.1 millimeters. There is a downside though to that. As you can see there, I picked up the wrong item because it just activates really quickly and super sensitive. But it does help in terms of beating people, in terms of picking up items quicker and using skills quickly to, get out of a dangerous situation where I was in there, I was about to die, and then I got caught out where one person was on the side, they were going to try to get us in the back, and I had to make sure to survive by using my skills. Using a Hall effect board helps me be able to do it a little bit more quicker than say other people and use specific items faster too. Now, one thing I do enjoy using a Hall effect board in Apex is just it makes things a little bit quicker because I'm a little bit slower at pressing things than other people, right? My farming is a bit slower. I'm slower at picking up items. Sometimes I like to look at something before I pick it up. A lot of people just pick it up first and then throw it away later. I'm just on the style of taking a look first before I grab it. Now, it does help to do that with the Hall effect board where I can do a little bit quicker things. And as you can see in game, right, it's fun, right? Using a Hall effect board allows you to do certain things that just makes the game a little bit more fun. Now, I don't play CS or Valorant, so I can't give you guys the exact in-depth of using like snap tap, which I am going to start practicing, right? I'll start practicing to really test that out myself so that I can kind of give you guys a better perspective in terms of the like snap tap on Hall effect boards. And I'm going to need to practice a lot though because I really do not know how to do that properly. And when I tried on Valorant before, I was failing really hard at it. But in gaming, the MCHOSE was great. It took some time to get used to just because of the angle and in terms of the height of the board itself. I felt was a little bit on the thicker side for my own comfort. I'm using more boards that are a little bit lower, and for me, if you have a bigger hands, it should be a problem. But because my hands are a bit small on the smaller side, I just found that this was a little bit too high for me personally. Now, going into actual further review of this board. So the MCHOSE A60 Pro for 44 USD is an incredible value, right? It is definitely on a huge budget side, right? You have to consider it is budget. So you're not getting an amazing board for 44 USD, right? You're not getting something that's like, well, what I mean by amazing is you're not getting a quality like build, right? You're not getting like aluminum case. You're not getting like crazy keycaps and all these extra things in this board. It is just a very simple board, but at that price, what you're getting is quite incredible because you're getting a Hall effect board with 8K over 120K scan rate, and it has a web software that works perfectly fine, right? You're getting all the things you need. There is a couple cons, right? Which, as I said, the profile changing would be nice to have. They should update it, right? That's a software update they could definitely do. And having that would really help with this board. I think in total, like if I was to compare this with, say, the other Hall effect boards out there, which is going to be, say, like the Mad Lion and the Battle 68, I would put this above them because I know that MCHOSE is going to be a bigger company that does have more support, and they're going to be, working towards improving their software. And I think in general for the price, like you're looking at something amazing, right? If you have to consider my Wu-Tang 60HE there, which to be fair, it's modified like crazy, right? I have different keycaps, different switches, a case that's like over 140 USD. It's going to be an expensive build, right? The Wu-Tang itself was like $200 something. And then adding all that together, we're looking at like spending $400 on that Wu-Tang. The software on the Wu-Tang, of course, is better because it has a lot more support, a lot more updates happening. But this is impressive, and I really think you should check out this MCHOSE A60 Pro if you're looking for a budget Hall effect board because it's good.
Now let me know down below in the comments what your guys' thoughts are on this MCHOSE A60. So I got the A60 Pro, and this thing ranges between $39 for the A60 and $44 USD for the A60 Pro. Now, I know you guys had checked out my other video from Mons Geek, the Fun 60. Now, I said that was going to be the best hybrid Hall effect board. And the reason I said that is because it's amazing for the price, right? You're getting both mechanical switch ability, as well as Hall effect ability. So you get both things in one. And it is on the pricier range. It's not a budget board, right? The biggest thing was it's not an incredibly budget. Like they did have a lower end model, which was much more cheaper, around like the 50 USD range, right? And then they had the much higher model at the around 80 to 90 USD. This one is really just a budget Hall effect board. And if I were to say, like, comparing this, right, I tried the Ueden. Unfortunately, I still haven't tried the Battle 68, or I haven't tried like other budget ones yet. The ones I've tried so far is like the Mons Geek one, which is partially budget, the Ueden, and then we have this one right here. And I think this kind of takes it all. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Battle 68 and the Ueden, checking out the software, it looks really bare minimum. It doesn't look amazing. For the Battle, I just checked out other videos, and Ueden, I tried it myself, right? And the thing about MCHOSE is more of a known company. And they do a lot of good budget boards. Like the GX87 Ultra was an incredible board of mine. I still love it, and I still use it to this day, and I still keep it because it's a board that I feel just does really well for what I need it to do, which is a really nice sounding mechanical keyboard that works without issues. This one, I have to admit, their software was a much better than other budget softwares out there. They actually put a lot more effort into it, and you could see it in my video. They actually did a really great job. And I say, currently, where it stands, from all the other Hall effect budget boards that I've tried, I would say this is the best one. And that's just because you have to consider all the things, right? Yes, it's a plastic case, which, like, again, the Mons Geek, the one I had, the Fun 60, was an aluminum case, and that one was sitting like closer to the 80 USD range. This is still sitting at the $44 range. And yeah, for $44, I don't think you're going to get much better than this, right? Looking at this, like, software, everything. Yes, the switches aren't amazing. Like, the ice switches that I got, I'm going to be honest with you, stock sounded horrible. It felt horrible, right? Super scratchy, really not great. You're going to have to lube the switches. You have to put some work into it, right? If you want a keyboard that's going to also sound great for Hall effect board at this price range, you're going to have to put some effort. Remember the Ueden? That one was also around the same price range. And yet, same thing, stock wasn't amazing. Had to lube the switches to make it better. You're going to also have to put that effort for this board too. This is going to be my honest opinion. Stock switches, not great. Of course, you can try the other ones. I haven't tried the other Hall effect switches that they have for this board. Some of them actually might even do much better. Maybe stock was okay too. It's just the one that I got here wasn't the best, and I did have to lube it. But after lubing it, I gotta admit, sounds much better, felt much better. So yeah, I'll have the links in the description. You should go check it out, especially if you're looking to save money and you just want a Hall effect board that's incredibly budget and does all you need for playing games and having that, rapid trigger and more. You should go take a look at this board. I'll have to catch you guys next time, but please go check out the other videos I got.